welcome to the Romance Seminar once again. It's Jay Green coming to you from Black Planet Devel. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about men. You know, the other day I went and sat and spoke with an individual of another race, and she asked me, she says, well, you know, she realizes that a lot of the people that she is employing and work for, you know, it was a meeting or whatever, she wasn't sure how that slavery from 400 years ago affects people today. It's gone in the past, it happened in the past, and it shouldn't really be affecting anyone. So this is how I broke it down to her. I said, well, think of it like this. If every one of us here in this restaurant, and that's what we were, a restaurant, we're a group of people, and the biggest men in the neighborhood or in your neighborhood were taken. I mean, the size and the scope of these individuals, 6 feet tall men, 6'5", something like that, and they were taken, and they were put into the middle of the neighborhood by the powers that be, and they were dominated and beat down till they had no more pride. And I said, imagine his wife watching that. Imagine the other wives or the other smaller husbands watching that. Imagine going through that as a son or daughter of that man that was beat down. Now, over time, what you can imagine is that if you keep doing this, taking the biggest and strongest amongst these people and beating them down, eventually what would happen is that the women wouldn't have as much confidence in the men that they have, because their men aren't as big as these men that they brought down to their knees and stolen their pride. So when you look at it, the situation that is, you got a woman in this particular neighborhood, your neighborhood, that does not believe in the men anymore. No matter how hard they try to be men, they can't be men, because the powers that be have taken their power of manhood. Now, imagine this woman trying to say, well, okay, you know what, I'll take control. I'll be the one that people, because they don't beat on me, so I'll take control. So then imagine that woman being beaten down in front of her husband. He's restraining her kids. So she gets this whole sense of, well, he can't protect me, my man that is, and the powers that be, they're just going to dominate me, so I'm going to have to rely on myself. I can't worry about anyone but myself. So imagine that process going on. Would she raise her children in the same neighborhood to be as big and strong as the bigger male counterparts that would beat down? Most likely not. What would end up happening is she would build a physically strong young man, but mentally weak towards her, because all the men have been demoralized, and the demoralization has caused them not to be the fundamental center of that family anymore, and so the woman has had to take control. Now, what happens is the woman becomes the slave driver for you, because now she wants to make sure her children are never beat as bad as she or her husband or any of the men in the tribe were beat, or the neighborhood. So she takes care, says, be strong physically, but listen, I don't want you going off, running off this neighborhood. Stay here. Stay here where I know you will be safe. The powers that be looked at her and saw that her mothering instinct would overpower the drive of anyone to escape or to assert themselves against the powers that be, because they've demoralized them over and over again, so people stop trying and they stop believing in themselves. Now, what happens is you have this cycle of, you have these women that are strong, but you have all these men that are second step or second tier to their women. Now, advance that through the generations. One day, the powers that be come to the neighborhood and say, well, look, check this out. From now on, you guys are free. You can go do whatever you want.